The quantum detection array registered the disturbance at 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Deep beneath the Atacama Desert, in a facility known only as the Lens, Commander Isabella Reyes watched as holographic displays erupted with data streams. The Centaurian Empire's fleet had finally arrived, exactly as their predictions had indicated. "Dr. Petal," she called out, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Analysis." Dr. Vikram Patel's fingers danced across quantum interfaces as he processed the incoming data. His dark eyes reflected the shimmer of holographic readouts, years of preparation culminating in this moment. 347 vessels, Commander. Largest is approximately 4 kilometers in length. They're maintaining position just beyond Neptune's orbit. Isabella allowed herself a small smile. The Centaurians were following their standard conquest protocol to the letter, just as humanity's deep space observation posts had documented countless times before. For decades, Earth had watched as the Empire expanded, absorbing civilization after civilization into their protective embrace. Each time, the pattern remained the same: arrival, assessment, and ultimately, submission or destruction. "Begin protocol, Sunset," Isabella ordered, her command triggering a cascade of automated responses throughout Earth's hidden defense network. Across the planet, quantum shield generators powered down to their lowest detectable levels. Advanced weapons platforms shifted into ghost mode. Humanity's true technological capabilities vanished behind a carefully constructed veil of primitive development. Dr. Patel looked up from his station, concern evident in his expression. "Commander, the Centaurians are deploying their long-range scanners. Should we adjust our quantum masking?" "No," Isabella replied, moving to the central command platform. "Let them see exactly what they expect to find. A world still dependent on fossil fuels, primitive fission reactors, early space exploration capabilities." She paused, watching as the holographic display showed the incoming scan beams. "Let them underestimate us." The facility hummed with activity as Earth's most advanced quantum computers processed the incoming data. The Centaurian fleet was impressive by conventional standards. Fusion-powered warships, gravitic weapons, and shield technology that had overwhelmed countless civilizations. But to humanity's quantum-based technology, they might as well have been using steam engines. "Message from Admiral Blackwood," announced Lieutenant Raj Sharma from his communications station. "The Ghost Fleet is in position, all ships maintaining quantum silence." Isabella nodded, pride swelling in her chest. Somewhere out there, invisible to even the most advanced Centaurian sensors, Earth's true defense fleet waited. Ships powered by quantum drives, armed with weapons that could redistribute matter across space-time, protected by shields that didn't just block attacks, but prevented them from ever having existed. "Dr. Petal," she called out, "show me their command ship." The holographic display shifted, focusing on the largest vessel in the Centaurian fleet. 4 kilometers of gleaming metal and energy shields, bristling with weapons that could reduce continents to ash. And yet, Isabella knew they had no idea they were already inside a quantum observation field that could track the movements of individual atoms within their hull. "They're preparing a transmission," Dr. Petal reported, his fingers moving across his interface. "Standard first contact package, by the looks of it. Shall we let them think they're making the first move?" Isabella checked the time. 6 hours since the fleet's arrival, right on schedule. "Yes, maintain our passive stance. Let's see their opening play." As if on cue, the Centaurian transmission burst forth, aimed at every major population center on Earth. The message was diplomatic in tone, but carried an unmistakable undertone of threat. Join us willingly or face the consequences. In the hours that followed, Earth's response was carefully choreographed chaos. Stock markets plunged. Military forces mobilized with deliberate inefficiency. Social media exploded with panic and speculation. All of it carefully monitored and modulated by AA systems to present exactly the image the Centaurians expected to see. "Commander," Dr. Petal called out, his voice tight with excitement. "They're launching scout ships, 3 of them, on approach vectors to North America, Asia, and Europe." Isabella moved to his station, watching the scout ships descent. Each one was roughly the size of an aircraft carrier, impressive to the primitive civilization they believed Earth to be. "Time to give them a show, Doctor." Initialize protocol masquerade. Across the globe, carefully prepared sites activated. Fake military bases with intentionally obvious attempts at camouflage. Research facilities filled with technology that appeared to be failed attempts at replicating Centaurian capabilities. All of it designed to tell a story. Here was a civilization struggling to advance, ripe for guidance from a superior power. As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, Isabella stood at the main viewport of the lens, looking up at the stars visible through the quantum-enhanced glass. Somewhere up there, the Centaurian Empire believed they were executing a flawless conquest strategy. They had no idea they were actually participating in their own elaborate test, one that would determine whether they could learn to coexist with humanity, or whether they needed to be taught a more severe lesson about the dangers of imperial ambition. "Dr. Petal," she called out one final time, "begin recording. Day 1 of Operation Hubris is complete. The Centaurians have taken the bait. Now let's see if they're wise enough to recognize the trap before it's too late." The quantum detection array continued its silent vigil, monitoring every movement, every communication, every energy signature from the alien fleet. Humanity's true power remained hidden, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. The game had begun, and Earth was playing to win. High Inspector Zorax adjusted his humanoid appearance projection as his scout vessel entered Earth's atmosphere. The Centaurian Empire had perfected the art of appearing less threatening to primitive species, though Zorax found the necessity tedious. His real form, a crystalline entity of flowing energy patterns, would have likely caused panic among the humans. "Atmospheric entry complete," reported Sub-Inspector Tarn, his aide and protege. "Their primitive radar systems are tracking us exactly as expected." Zorax observed the approaching landmass of what humans call North America. Their first inspection site would be a military installation in a region designated as Nevada. Status of the masking field. "Operating at full capacity," Taran replied. "To their sensors, we appear to be nothing more than atmospheric disturbances." In the depths of the lens, Commander Isabella Reyes watched the Centaurian scout ships descent through quantum imaging. Every photon of their supposedly perfect masking field was mapped, analyzed, and categorized. Dr. Petal stood beside her, monitoring the stream of data. "They're heading exactly where we predicted," Isabella noted. "Time to activate the Nevada site." At the secret facility dubbed Site Omega, Admiral James Blackwood oversaw final preparations. The massive underground complex had been carefully crafted to appear as a failed attempt at reverse engineering alien technology. Engineers scurried about, powering up intentionally flawed prototype engines and activating radiation signatures that would suggest desperate attempts at mastering faster-than-light travel. "Status report," Blackwood commanded, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays. "All systems operating at specified reduced capacity, sir," reported Lieutenant Naomi Rodriguez. "Quantum masking is holding steady. To their sensors, we'll look like we're barely managing to contain our own experiments." The Centaurian scout ship landed silently in the desert night. Zorax and Terran emerged, their humanoid projections perfect down to the smallest detail. They approached the facility, their advanced sensors probing every aspect of the installation. "Fascinating," Terran commented, genuine interest in his voice. "They've actually managed to create a crude form of containment field. Primitive, but impressive for their technological level." Zorax nodded, though something tugged at the edges of his consciousness. Something about the facility felt staged. He dismissed the thought. Countless evaluations of pre-imperial civilizations had taught him that emerging species often followed predictable patterns of development. Deep within Site Omega, Admiral Blackwood watched the aliens through quantum imaging. "They're approaching Test Chamber 3. Begin the containment field failure sequence." Right on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Engineers rushed about in seemingly panicked responses as energy readings from the chamber spiked dangerously. To the Centaurian observers, it would appear as though the humans had lost control of their experiments. Zorax and Terran watched with professional interest as human scientists struggled to contain what appeared to be an unstable reaction. Their sensors recorded everything, noting the primitive nature of the containment technology, the inefficient use of energy, the crude attempts at replicating more advanced principles. "Typical development pattern," Zorax noted, though that nagging feeling persisted. "They've observed our ships, perhaps others, and attempted to reverse engineer what they've seen, and failed, of course." In the lens, Dr. Patel monitored the quantum readings of the Centaurian observers. "Commander, detecting elevated cognitive patterns in the lead inspector. He may be sensing something's off." Isabella smiled slightly. "As expected. High Inspector Zorax has a reputation for intuition. Initiate protocol subtlety. Let's give him something to chase that leads nowhere." Across the globe, similar scenes played out at inspection sites in Asia and Europe. Each location carefully crafted to present an image of humanity struggling to advance, reaching for the stars but falling short. The Centaurian evaluation team documented everything, building a profile of Earth's capabilities that was exactly what Earth wanted them to see. Admiral Blackwood, observing the Centaurian reactions, couldn't help but feel a touch of irony. The very beings who believed they were conducting a superior assessment were themselves being evaluated, their every response measured and analyzed by systems they couldn't even detect. As the first day of inspections drew to a close, Zorax compiled his preliminary reports in the scout ship's command center. A civilization on the cusp of breakthrough, he dictated. Their attempts to master advanced technology are admirable, but fundamentally flawed. They require guidance to prevent catastrophic mistakes. Terran, reviewing the data, paused at something unusual. "High Inspector, I'm detecting some anomalous readings from their global communication network. There might be more to their information technology than we initially assumed." Zorax dismissed the concern with a wave. Expected variations in developmental paths. Some species advance faster in certain areas while lagging in others. Mark it for observation, but it doesn't change our primary assessment. In the lens, Isabella received the intercepted reports with satisfaction. "They're following the script perfectly," she told Dr. Pittle. "Time to move to Phase 2. Let's see how they react when they find our hidden lunar base." As Earth's night side faced the stars, humanity's elaborate deception continued to unfold. The Centaurian Empire, confident in their superiority, had no idea they were playing their part in a carefully orchestrated performance. Soon, they would learn the true cost of underestimating humanity, but for now, the dance continued. Above it all, Earth's quantum fleet maintained their invisible vigil, weapons powered down but ready. The next act of this cosmic drama was about to begin, and humanity was directing every scene. Quantum engineer Kira Yamamoto stood in her private lab within the lens, surrounded by floating holographic representations of Centaurian communications. Her latest breakthrough had allowed Earth's quantum systems to not just intercept, but fully decode the Empire's most secure transmissions. What she hadn't expected was to find herself increasingly fascinated by one particular voice in those communications. Playing transmission 2047, her system announced, and Terran's voice filled the lab. The Centaurian sub-inspector's reports were different from the others, more nuanced, more questioning. He'd noticed patterns that his superiors had dismissed. Secondary analysis of Earth's global network reveals unusual data structures, Terran's voice noted. The information architecture suggests capabilities beyond their apparent technological level, requesting deeper investigation. Kira smiled, making notes in her quantum interface. "He's sharper than the others," she murmured to herself. "Maybe too sharp for his own good." A gentle chime announced Commander Reyes's arrival. "Report, Engineer Yamamoto. What have you found in their communications?" Kira gestured, expanding the holographic display. "Most of them see exactly what we want them to see. But this one, Sub-Inspector Terran, he's different. He's picking up on subtle inconsistencies. Not enough to break our cover, but..." Isabella studied the data streams thoughtfully. "Could he be a problem?" "Actually," Kira replied, "he might be an opportunity. His psychological profile shows genuine curiosity about Earth, not just as a potential conquest, but as a civilization worth understanding." At that moment, in the Centaurian scout ship orbiting Earth, Terran was conducting his own analysis. The humans' technology was primitive, yes, but something about their development pattern didn't match any other species the Empire had encountered. "High Inspector," he called out, "I've compiled the data on their global information network. There are anomalies I believe warrant further investigation." Zorax looked up from his own reports, mildly annoyed at the interruption. "Your thoroughness is commendable, Terran, but unnecessary. The assessment is clear." "Impossible," Zorax declared, studying the readings. "These signatures suggest capabilities far beyond their apparent level. The entire assessment could be compromised." In the lens, Commander Isabella Reyes knew the time had come. "Engineer Yamamoto, initiate protocol revelation. Dr. Puttel, prepare the quantum displacement demonstration." Kira sent one final message to Terran. "Watch carefully. What you see next is not an attack, but a demonstration of trust." Above Earth, the Imperial fleet's flagships suddenly registered a massive energy surge. Before any alarms could sound, before any defensive measures could be taken, one of their destroyer-class vessels, the Star Valor, simply vanished. Panic erupted through the Imperial command. Zorax rushed to the bridge of his scout ship, all pretense of calm assessment forgotten. "Report. What happened to the Star Valor?" The answer came not from his crew, but from every communication system in the fleet simultaneously. Commander Reyes's voice, calm and measured, filled every ship. "The Star Valor and its crew are unharmed. They have been temporarily relocated to coordinates we are now providing. This demonstration serves as both our capability statement and our warning. We have watched your empire expand for decades. We know your protocols, your technology, your strengths, and your limitations. We chose to let you find us when we were ready. In the flagship's command center, Admiral Nexus of the Imperial Fleet watched in stunned silence as detailed scans of every ship in his fleet appeared on his screens. Scans showing structural details even Imperial engineers didn't know about. 1 month later, the first official diplomatic contact between Earth and the Centaurian Empire took place, not as conqueror and subject, but as equals. The meeting was held in a quantum space-neutral zone, where representatives from both civilizations could appear in their true forms. Kira Yamamoto found herself face-to-face with Terran's true form for the first time, a beautiful crystalline matrix of pure energy and thought. Their earlier exchanges had evolved into something neither civilization had expected, a bridge between fundamentally different ways of seeing the universe. Your deception was magnificent, Terran communicated, his energy patterns shifting in what Kira had learned to recognize as amusement. But what truly impressed me was how you chose to reveal yourselves. We had to know, Kira replied, her own quantum presence interacting harmoniously with his. Would your empire be wise enough to recognize an opportunity for partnership rather than conquest? Commander Reyes and High Inspector Zorax, now freed from their previous roles, began discussing the framework for a new kind of relationship between their civilizations. Earth's quantum technology and the Empire's vast experience with diverse species could complement each other in ways neither had initially imagined. Your empire expanded seeking strength, Isabella explained to the assembled delegates. We hid, developing our technology in secret, for the same reason. Perhaps it's time both our civilizations learned a new way forward. The agreement that emerged from those talks would reshape the galaxy. The Centaurian Empire began a transformation, shifting from conquest to cooperation. Earth's quantum technology revolutionized imperial science, while Centaurian experience helped humanity navigate the broader galactic community. In the lens, now renamed the Galactic Cooperation Center, Dr. Pittel worked alongside imperial scientists, combining quantum mechanics with Centaurian crystal technology. The results would open new frontiers in science and exploration. But perhaps the most significant change came from the smallest beginning, the correspondence between a curious inspector and a quantum engineer. Kira and Terran's collaboration led to the creation of the first hybrid quantum crystal communication network, allowing unprecedented understanding between their peoples. We thought we were testing you, Terran told Kira as they worked together in the quantum crystal lab. In reality, you were testing all of us, yourselves included. Every first contact is a test, Kira replied, watching their combined technology create new possibilities. The real question is whether we can learn from each other rather than fear each other. As Earth's quantum fleet and the Imperial Armada conducted their first joint exercises, their crews no longer saw each other as potential enemies, but as partners in exploring the unknown. The warning Earth had given had evolved into something far more valuable, a promise of shared discovery and mutual growth. The assessment is clear. They're exactly where we expected them to be, ready for Imperial guidance. With respect, sir, Terran persisted, their network architecture. It's too elegant. The underlying protocols show a sophistication that doesn't match their other technology. It's as if. As if what, Sub-Inspector? Terran hesitated. As if they want us to see certain things and not others. In the lens, Kira monitored this exchange with growing interest. Commander, she called out, I think we might need to adjust our strategy. Terran's getting close to something we can use. Isabella considered the implications. Elaborate. What if we let him find something? Not enough to expose us, but enough to open a dialogue. His psychological profile suggests he might be receptive to a different kind of first contact. The commander's eyes narrowed. "You're suggesting we break protocol and make direct contact." "Controlled contact," Kira clarified. "Through the network he's already investigating. We could leave a trail of breadcrumbs, leading to a careful revelation of human potential. Not our full capabilities, but enough to suggest we might be more valuable as allies than subjects." In orbit, Taran couldn't shake his unease. During his routine scan of Earth's networks, he discovered what appeared to be an encrypted channel unlike anything he'd seen before. The encryption wasn't primitive. It was elegant, almost artistic in its complexity. "Fascinating," he muttered, careful not to alert his superiors. The channel seemed to respond to his probe, adjusting itself, almost like it was reaching back to him. A message appeared in his private terminal. "Not all is as it seems. Some worlds wear masks. Sub-Inspector Taran. The question is, are you willing to look beneath them?" The message was signed with a simple quantum signature, one that his systems said was impossible for Earth's technology level to produce. In the lens, Kira watched Taran's response through quantum imaging. His vital signs showed excitement, curiosity, and, most importantly, no fear. "He's taken the bait," she reported, initiating controlled information exchange. Over the next several hours, Taran found himself engaged in a fascinating dialogue through the encrypted channel. His mysterious correspondent, identifying only as K, posed questions that made him reconsider everything he thought he knew about Earth. "Why do you think we show you what we show you?" K asked. "Consider, if a civilization knew it was being watched, how might it prepare?" Isabella monitored the exchange carefully. "Remember, Engineer Yamamoto, we're walking a fine line here. We need him intrigued, not alarmed." "Trust me, Commander," Kira replied, her fingers dancing across quantum interfaces. "He's different from the others. He sees the poetry in technology, not just its military applications." As Earth's rotation brought another night cycle, Taran found himself looking down at the planet with new eyes. The supposedly primitive world below suddenly seemed full of mysteries. In his private quarters, he composed a message to Kay. "You're suggesting your world has been preparing for us. But why reveal this to me?" The response came quickly. "Because some bridges are worth building before walls become necessary. Tomorrow, when you inspect the lunar facility, look closely at the quantum signature of the containment fields. Some flowers only bloom under the right kind of attention." Kira sent the message and sat back, a small smile playing on her lips. "Commander, I believe we've just created our first crack in the Empire's certainty. Tomorrow should be very interesting." Isabella nodded slowly. "Keep him engaged but careful. We're not just playing with one inspector's curiosity now. We're rewriting the first contact protocols of two civilizations." Above Earth, Taran looked out his viewport at the blue planet below, the encrypted channel's interface glowing softly beside him. For the first time in his career as an Imperial inspector, he felt like he might be the one being evaluated. And somehow, that thought excited him more than anything had in centuries. The quantum dance between hunter and hunted had taken an unexpected turn, and its consequences would soon ripple through two civilizations. In the lens, Kira prepared for tomorrow's lunar inspection, knowing that every step of this dangerous dance had to be perfect. The future of human-Centaurian relations might depend on what one curious inspector would find in humanity's carefully crafted deceptions. The lunar facility inspection changed everything. Taran, guided by the subtle hints from his mysterious correspondent, Kay, noticed the impossible quantum signatures in the containment fields. When he secretly shared his findings with High Inspector Zorax, the response was immediate and severe. Commander Reyes, standing at her familiar viewport in the lens, watched Earth's first official diplomatic vessel depart for the imperial capital. Sometimes, she mused to Dr. Patel, the best way to prevent a war is to show that you're ready for one, but would rather find another way. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what both civilizations needed. End of story.